A nursing home hired a stripper to entertain the seniors. A TikTok challenge leads to the rise of car thefts. And a church blesses all the bicycles. These are the weird stories for Wednesday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian. I'm Jonesy. I appreciate you joining me for this episode. Let's get right to it. A nursing home hires a stripper to entertain their seniors. How lovely. A nursing home was obliged to issue an apology. An apology? For what? For bringing joy to seniors? They had to say they were sorry for hiring a stripper to perform for their elderly people in wheelchairs. Why apologize? You probably brought these people so much joy that afternoon or evening. I mean, when I say evening, we're talking about seniors here. So like they usually wrap it up probably about 7. That gives the strippers time to get to the club, you know. It's a good gig for a stripper. You do the elderly during the day, and then you do the regular crowd at night. You can double up on your income. Okay, what's the name of this veterans home? Tao Yuan Veterans Home. It's a government-run facility for retired soldiers in Taiwan. Retired soldiers. Yeah. They paid their dues for the country. Give them a stripper. What's the deal? I mean, if we're being real, I would never even volunteer to join the military unless you promised me that when I had retired, you were going to send strippers to my abode at least one night a month. You know, then I'm all in. This government-run facility for retired soldiers in Taiwan compensated the stripper for a sensual performance to commemorate the Mid-Autumn Festival. The Mid-Autumn Festival is a very significant celebration of the rice and wheat harvests of the season in Chinese culture. I wonder how their rice and wheat harvest is doing right now. We're all dealing with a drought. The rice industry in California is suffering big time, I recently read. So I'm wondering if Taiwan, they're having an issue with that. But that's kind of off topic. What we're really onto here is whether or not it's okay to hire a stripper for your retired soldiers that are in wheelchairs. I say okay. An audience member recorded the obscene performance. Obscene? This was before it was uploaded to social media and instantly went viral. Let's see what was so obscene about it. It says here, the sexy video depicts the masked exotic dancer giving an old man a lap dance. That sounds like protocol. And kudos to the dancer for wearing a mask. You know, it's COVID times. The stripper also presses her breasts into his face while wearing lace lingerie. Okay, so they weren't even bare, which would disappoint me if I was the man getting the lap dance. But I'm saying that to make a point that this is not obscene at all. She's wearing lace lingerie. I mean, she presses her breasts in his face. Yeah, that's a lap dance. It's called a lap dance. She's wearing lingerie. She's bringing this individual a very nice moment in his life that might not be filled with so many nice moments. He's a retired soldier in a wheelchair, after all. Judging from the video footage, the elderly man doesn't seem to mind. The video shows him gripping the woman's breasts as she writhes her body with great joy. Other nursing home patients appear to enjoy the obscene performance as they eagerly clapped along. What is this obscene word that you're injecting into this story? This isn't obscene at all. You want to see obscene? There are strip shows you can go to where they shoot stuff out of their vajayjays. This is very, very tasteful, in my opinion. She's not even nude. After receiving criticism, the elderly care home had to issue a statement indicating that, quote, the event's goal was to amuse and please the residents. We sincerely regret the offense that was committed. Who is offended? It says here the elderly man enjoyed the performance and others that witnessed it eagerly clapped along. Who is offended? Someone who wasn't even there? I love these professional offendees that come out of the woodwork to ruin all our fun. This is offensive. You weren't there, bro. They do that with comedians all the time. This comedian's joke is totally offensive and inappropriate. Yeah, well, we watched the footage. Everyone laughed at the show. You weren't at the show. Therefore, your opinion is meaningless. We have a spokesperson for this facility. they noted that the COVID outbreak had forced this nursing home to cancel Mid-Autumn Festival celebrations the previous 2 years. Yeah, and it probably was a big disappointment for these people. They look forward to this festival. It seems like a big deal. It says here, because it was canceled, they scheduled the stripper to put on a show to cheer up the locals. Great idea. They did admit, though, that the erotic dancer's antics were, quote, very exuberant and fiery. I disagree. I've seen a lot of strip club activity. I know what's exuberant and fiery. This stripper's wearing lingerie throughout. She's not nude. This is far from exuberant and falls very short of fiery, in my opinion. The facility promises to be more careful going forward. Please don't fold to some comments by a few attendees that weren't even present at your celebration. Please go with the reaction that you got from the people that were there in the moment. Please, facility, please allow them to enjoy their life. Please. Oh, they're probably not going to listen to me. Who gives a damn? I'm just a guy in a closet. I can't influence Taiwanese veteran homes. Do you guys agree with me or not? I would love to hear your opinion on this. 646-450-2012. A TikTok challenge is leading to the thefts of some cars. A very dangerous challenge is spreading on TikTok and other social media platforms, and it has car owners and police departments on alert all across the U.S. The TikTok challenge is challenging young teens to steal certain cars off the street using a USB cord. Now, certain models of cars are the target of this theft, specifically Kia and Hyundai vehicles from 2010 to 2021 that use a mechanical key and not a key fob or push button to start the car. Investigators tell the media the trend began last year, and the number of cars being stolen is continuing to surge across the country. In Florida, police reported more than a third of all car thefts there since mid-July are linked to this TikTok challenge. You'd imagine that's a lot of cars, too, because it's Florida. Can you imagine the overall number of cars being stolen in Florida? Los Angeles officials say the viral trend has led to an 85% increase in car theft of Hyundais and Kias compared with last year. 85%. Well, yeah, I mean, ordinarily no one would steal a Hyundai or a Kia. They're kind of shit cars, so you need a TikTok challenge to get that going. Because nobody's stealing those cars, let's be real. All right, you're stealing a Kia? Really? The story is the same in Chicago, it says, according to the county sheriff, Tom Dart. He says, in our jurisdiction alone, thefts of certain models are up over 800% in the last month. 800%. I mean, we see no end in sight. This challenge is really out of hand. The TikTok trend challenges teens to steal the cars off the street by breaking into it, popping off the steering wheel column, and hot wiring the vehicle using only a USB cable, similar to the wire used to charge your phone. Well, maybe make it a little more difficult to steal a car than just with a USB cable, which all of us have. Maybe upgrade, Kia. Here's a quote from that guy from earlier. The viral nature of how this has taken off on social media, it's accelerated this like we've never seen. The perpetrators are doing it in 20 to 30 seconds, really. It literally is as old-fashioned as you can imagine. I mean, it takes under a minute to steal one of these cars. Turns out many of the car thieves, according to the statistics, are young teens, some of them not even old enough to legally drive. The stolen cars are often used for joyrides or used to commit other crimes and then abandoned on the side of the road. We had an 11-year-old who was one of our most prolific stealers. Can you believe that? This 11-year-old stole many cars. I mean, the notion that they can drive is a fantasy, really. Now, on social media, these thieves post their videos of them stealing and then driving the cars around. They use the hashtag KiaBoys, and this hashtag now has more than 33 million views on TikTok. TikTok, of course, had to address this in a statement. They say, exactly what you expect them to say. We don't condone this behavior. It violates our policies. We're going to remove the videos if we find them on the platform. There's a Karen in this story. She's a resident of Illinois. She said her 2019 Kia Sorento was stolen from in front of her apartment on August 6th. She's very shocked. I looked out the window and realized my car was gone. Days later, Karen was in a rental car, stopped at a red light when she claims she saw her missing Kia drive right past her. I saw a teenage boy sitting in the front driving it, Couldn't believe it. I drove around the block. 5 kids actually jumped into my car. That's when I started to panic. I thought I was going to lose my car forever. Karen told the media she went on a hunt to track down her Kia. And hours later, she found it, deserted on the side of the road. She called the police. She said her Kia was left heavily damaged. They crashed the front of my Kia. They damaged the bumper. They even wrote on the top of my ceiling. It says, you know what it says? Hot car. How offensive. We have a fella in the story named Tom. He's a Milwaukee-based filmmaker. He made a documentary on his YouTube channel about this called The Kia Boys Documentary, which has nearly 4 million views. This guy, Tom, says, well, this is what they do for after-school entertainment. They don't really have much of a sympathy for the people that they're doing this to either, I've noticed. And we have an attorney from Missouri named Ken. He says some of this blame for the stealing spree falls on the automakers themselves, Kia and Hyundai. He claims the companies built cars that are too easy to steal. Yeah, I agree. If an 11-year-old can steal your car with nothing but a USB cable, yeah, probably pretty easy to steal. Well, obviously the automakers need to do something about this, but we have a bigger challenge ahead of us, guys, and that is there's an entire generation out there that will do anything for likes and views on TikTok, even if it involves them committing a crime. And I can only foresee them getting more and more challenging. I mean, you got stealing cars. What's next? Yeah, the rob a bank challenge on TikTok. I mean, this is where we could go, guys. You like podcasts? You're listening to my podcast. Maybe you thought to yourself, I'd like to make a podcast. Too difficult. No, not with Anchor. Anchor has free creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor distributes your podcast to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. They have advertising integration, so you can even make a little money off your podcast. Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your creation. Good luck with your life, man. Yay! A church blesses bicycles to encourage people to ride them. The First Baptist Church in Halifax is doing its part to encourage the local residents to use bikes through a blessing event that happened over the weekend. About a dozen people brought their scooters and bicycles to the second annual event. The second annual event. They've blessed the bikes before, it seems. Who blesses the bikes? Reverend Rusty Edwards. Oh, Rusty! Big bike fan. He bikes to and from the church every day, I imagine. Rusty led a prayer that showed gratitude to the environmentally friendly modes of transportation and prayed for the safety of those using them. That's what you want. You want your bike to be blessed. You don't want to ride around on an unblessed scooter. The devil might take over. Rusty Edwards said the initiative is a way to create a more bike-friendly Halifax as well. He said everyone has a responsibility to be caretakers of the natural world and should work to support efforts within the city to live healthier, greener lives. Care of the environment is central to what we believe our calling is as people following in the good and just ways of God. Oh, I agree with Rusty. I'd imagine I haven't been to church in a while, but if I was to attend a Catholic Mass, how much talk of the environment is going on there? I don't remember that when I was a child and attended Mass quite a bit. But I think caring for the environment is something Jesus would do. Jesus seemed like someone who would ride a bicycle, I think. Can you picture him riding a bike? Jesus rides bikes, man, or skateboards. Possibly a scooter. Jesus was hip to nature, man. I think he'd be very concerned about what's going on right now as well. I think he would be right there with Rusty blessing those bikes. I think he would. This guy, Rusty, hopes to also attract more people to the church through the event. They're always trying to get attendance going because it's hard now. We live in such a secular world. But churches that are embracing the environment and doing stuff like this, I think that's a positive step. I think people will attend the church when you do stuff like this. Shelley says, I enjoy biking around the town. It's a great way to see our beautiful city. I consider myself a steward of the land, and that's my way to be able to give back and preserve creation. The minister's daughter, Addison, said she also rides her scooter around the neighborhood. She said the prayer for the bicycles made her feel safe and protected. Oh, that's nice. She feels safe on her bike with the prayer. You're also in Halifax, so, I mean, you probably feel pretty safe most of the time. I don't recommend bicycling around downtown Los Angeles, and I don't think a prayer for your bicycle is going to protect you in that instance. But certain communities can feel safe and protected on their bikes, with or without a prayer. Bicycle bells were rung together to mark the end of the prayer, it says here, and that's the end of the story. They rang the bicycle bells, da-na-na. You might want to get out there and bless the Hyundais and Kias, Rusty. Yeah. A nice little prayer to keep away the teenagers with USB cables, huh? Hi, my loyal listeners. Thank you once again for taking in another episode of Weird AF News. I appreciate your time very much. I'll try and keep this brief. I want to give some love to Riley and Dylan Taylor. They wrote me a review for the podcast, which is super helpful because, you know, I could use positive reviews. They actually wrote like a couple reviews and sent me screenshots. I don't know where these are. One's on Amazon. Here's the Amazon one. 5 stars. Fantastic in a time of toilet-worthy news. Love this podcast. It's aptly named. It's Weird AF News. That's it. Short and sweet. Amazing. Can't ask for more than that. The other review, I believe, is on Apple Podcasts. It says here, it beats mainstream media by a long shot. 5 stars. I willingly choose to wake up to this every morning. Couldn't recommend it more. And another sweet, right to the point review. I love it. The 5 stars, too. I mean, I appreciate that. You guys know I get various levels of stars, but I mostly like the 5-star one. You know, I think that's a good one. You can even leave 5 stars on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify. You can't really write anything as far as I know, but you can click on the 5 stars. That's so helpful. All of these positive reviews make me feel great, and I think they do great things for my numbers. I'm not sure, but I think it's, well, you know, when someone's looking at your podcast, considering whether or not to listen to it, maybe they'll see how many stars that you have or read a couple reviews. So in that vein, very, very helpful. And I thank you, Riley and Dylan, for that. I appreciate you taking the time and sending me the screenshots as well. If you guys want to review the show, send me a screenshot. I'll give you a big shout out and show you my appreciation. If you'd like to email me any stories, it's funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can slide into my DMs on Instagram @funnyjones as well. Or you can tag me in the story if you post it on Twitter @funnyjones as well. That's how I can get stories this way. And I appreciate all of your efforts, and I appreciate all of your time. I'm going to let you go now. We'll see you tomorrow.